Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. How you all doing today?
Welcome to Becoming One Flesh.
Yes,
God
welcome.
bless you. We're glad to see you all. We're not going to delay the time.
Oh,
We
definitely
prayed before
not.
we came on. We're not going to delay the time. We want to talk about how deep is your love. And I think, with being married and you have so many things in life that happens. You have so many ups and downs and a lot of things that go on that can be that can kind of cause you to lose sight of who you married, who you are, who they are, and the purpose of you all being together and coming together. Because I think why many people may get to that place to where I guess they say they fell out of love or this and that is because you kind of lose sight of one another. You lose sight of your why you were together in the first place. All you had in common, all of the things that you love about one another. Sometimes we can forget about those things. And when you love somebody really from your heart, you can in some instances you will be able to see past where they are right now. Because it's so often it's easy to see where they are, and it's easy to look at where someone is, but love's helps you to see past and see beyond what may be going on with them or in your marriage or where your marriage is now. It helps you to see in the future, or you see who they really are.
Yeah.
Because I know with Joseph and I, one of the reasons why we stayed together was because I was able, with the help of the Lord, I was able to see past what was going on with us and to see that, that change is possible. That he wasn't this horrible person. He was human and made mistakes, and I had to get past the negative things I was seeing in order to see that there was good in everybody. I don't care what they're doing. There's good in them. But many times, with things going on in our lives, we may tend to do other things or go contrary to that, but that doesn't make us a bad person. It makes us someone who's made mistakes. And so your love for one another has to be deeper than when things are just good. They have to go deeper than when things may not so good. Because many people, I was reading this passage the other day in this book. It was a book that talked about relationships, and one of the things that was said was that it was this couple that was married when they were young, and they endured a lot. They lost children, grandchildren, I think a son-in-law in an accident. It was like 4 or 5 people they lost in one accident.
Wow.
And they were able to stay together because they were able to work through everything, and they were able to see, the benefit of them being together and them being with each other. They were able to see that, so they were able to make it through. I think they celebrated about 40 or 50 years or something like that. They were able to celebrate for as an anniversary. So my question is, how deep is your love for your spouse?
Yeah, baby, just thinking on that page itself, a lot of times we fall in love with love and not fall in love with the individual. And it when we fall in love with love, then what it does is it causes you not to
Hello.
actually love the individual.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So you fall in love with the mystique of being in love and being married. But it's much deeper than that because we was talking the other day. We have been through a lot of stuff, Bo, and it's caused us to come together, in a stronger bond. But then our love for each other had to be greater than the things that we went through. Because I mean, we live in a society now, baby. Let's just be real about it. It's like the microwave thing. If it don't work, I'll go to the next. But if I don't do this, and no problem, I can find something else. I can do something else. And it's flesh driven. It's not spirit driven. Because once we understand it, then we know that love is a spirit. It's the spirit of God. And until we understand that, then what we do, we fall in love with the fact of being in love. We don't fall in love with the person. We fall in love with the attributes, the things that they may have done for us or to us or with us, and what we've done together and all that other stuff. But then when the rubber meets the road, we have to get to the place where as we say, you know what? I love them, regardless of what's going on. Because a lot of times, baby, in our relationships and in marriages, people don't really, and it's just, this is my synopsis of it all. People don't really understand what love is. You know what I mean? Because you can't love something if you don't know what it is. The only thing you can do is give it yourself, and self gets old sometimes. We have to be to the place to where, as we said, you know what? I'm in love with this individual spiritually, because like you said, we all make mistakes. We all have our little faults and our little quirks and all that other stuff. So if you're looking at that, then you're not really in love. You feel what I'm saying? I remember when I was going through that whole situation, the Lord told me this. I think I told you. He said, love me and I'll love you through her. Love me and I'll be getting out the frame. Love me and I'll love you through her. And I had to kind of realize, well, what are you talking about? Fall in love with me. I'll love you through her. And because we done that, I mean, we good to go. We're not saying that we don't, still have our little quirks and all that other stuff. Excuse me. But we understand the concepts and the precepts of what love is. And when you can do that, then your love can be deep and not just surface.
Yes. And one thing I know I heard, I believe it was Prophetess Miranda said when she was talking about, I think she ended up touching on relationships. And she said, one thing you need to know is whoever you're marrying, you need to know whether they really, really know God or not, or whether they're really, truly saved. Not do they go to church once a month, but do they really, really know God? Do they really have a relationship with him? Are they truly saved? And she said, you need to even know what kind of demons they got.
Wow.
She's like, many times we marry people, we don't even know what's going on with them. And then when we marry them and we get to the marriage and then everything start going left and we sitting here looking like, well, what's going on? She said, you better know that God told you, or that this is the person you're supposed to be with. She's like, because all of these other things, if you don't know, then later on you will begin to see all these other things that you probably should have saw before. You end up seeing later on. And some people can work through it and deal with it and move on, but some people can't. And so this is why when it comes to even, selecting or having a spouse, for one thing, God ain't gonna tell you, you need to marry that person right there. Come on now. Because with him and I, he knew when he saw me. He knew I was going. He didn't need a prophetic word from the Lord to tell him to marry me.
No,
because he was already praying for a wife anyway. Yeah. So he knew when he saw me, he knew, okay, that was it. Because we'll blame God that God told us to do something. Then when it don't work, we blame God still. Well, God told me to do it. A lot of that stuff be us.
Yeah, the majority of it.
And not saying that he can't show you who somebody may be, but he's not going to make you marry somebody. These are because it's your will and your desire to whether you're going to do it or not. He's not going to force you to marry somebody. He may lead you in a certain direction. Y'all paths may cross, and he may lead you in that place to where your paths may cross and different things like that. But I mean, a lot of things we put on him is not really on him, because if he told us to marry some of the people we supposed to marry, then a lot of us wouldn't be divorced.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because he doesn't lie. He's not a lie. He's not the author of confusion. Seriously. So if he said those things, then some things we need to be like, God, you never told me that. I told me that.
Yeah.
And I said, and I put your name on that. So what we're saying is, even when it comes to marriage, you got to look deep. Like this is what Judge Maybelline used to say on divorce court. Look deep before you leap. You got to really, really know this person. And I know you won't know everything, but you really need to assess some things and make sure you know what's going on, because it doesn't make sense to marry someone and y'all anointings on two different pages. Y'all don't even believe the same thing. Yeah. You don't live the same life. This one got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You all the way in. It's not going to work. So you have to really, really be mindful of who you're choosing as a mate, because of course, no matter who you marry, it's not going to be without issues. Everybody going to go through. Some couples go through sicknesses. Some couple goes through so many things, financial things. Some people couples go through tragedies, all kind of things. There's things that are going to happen, but this person, it's good to be sure that this person is somebody that you want to be with throughout these things, that you know that what y'all have is going to last no matter what comes against you, because it's rooted and grounded in God, because you two are rooted and grounded in God. And many times it end up being one spouse that's rooted and grounded in God, and then the other one's not. And then when the trials of life come, it's like it blows some people apart, or it causes the weight to be on one person and not on the other. So this is why we have to know what we're getting into. And then when it comes to marriage, as we said, you have to be willing to be all in, because it's easy to quit. It's easy to get a divorce. It's easy to walk away. That takes no effort, because that can depend on your emotions from day to day if you allow it to. But it takes work to make things work. It takes work to get through these things, because you can get over one hurdle and later on something else may come. So it doesn't, guarantee that nothing's going to happen, but you'll know that you'll be able to weather it together. You'll get through it together. You'll be able to make past those things. You'll be able to get past those things together as one.
Hey, let me say this here while you're going. I got a dear friend of mine, a brother that I love like a brother, and he was married, and he came down with a autoimmune disease.
Mm-hmm.
I think was MS or whatever. And as long as he was healthy and making money and doing all that other stuff, she was down. But the minute he got sick, she left him. So was it really love or lust? Or was it selfishness or what? He's been married. He's gotten married since then. And the wife that he has now is his wife, And I said that to say this here. A lot of times we marry people out of our lust. We marry people out of the sex or whatever else, or whatever things, or what they can do for us and what they have done for us and what they're doing for us. We marry people from that place. And it causes things to fall apart. Because when you marry for the right reason, when you marry for the love, not the lust, but the love, then like you said, baby, it's thick and thin. It's forever, no matter what happens. But when we marry for the wrong reasons sometimes, and it's not really love, then what we have is something plastic or artificial. Mm-hmm. That's not really what the institution of marriage really is. Mm-hmm. So you're right. We have to check our relationships with the people that we venture to marry or in relationship with, this to understand and see who this person really is, not just from their fleshly standpoint, because we all can get caught up in our flesh, but to marry someone from a spiritual place to where their heart is your heart and your heart is their heart, and come what may, ride, what do you say, ride or die, mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't live on the ride die page. It's ride until you die. Mm-hmm. And we have to get away from that, because that's not what God has called us to be. He called us to be one. Even when Adam and Eve, when they did what they did, he didn't separate them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He didn't separate them, even though they faltered and they, what I'm saying? He didn't separate them. That's right. But we have a tendency to, whereas if one spouse doesn't do what we feel they should do, we leave them. Because we feel, well, I can get another one, or I can do this here and that. But is that genuine love? I don't think so. And that's the culture of this life that we live in now. It's so easy to discard somebody than to fight. Mm-hmm. And that's why I always tell you, I appreciate you, because you fight. You fought for me. We fight for each other. And it's not about what anybody else may feel or think. It's about the fight that we have for our marriage, mm-hmm. the love that we have for our marriage. But it has to be found. The foundation of it has to be Christ, mm-hmm. And that's the bottom line. Yeah. So that's what I had to say about it.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Yeah, that's all I got too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So we just want to come on and encourage you all tonight, and we pray that you will remember why you two are together. Remember why you are in love with one another, and and concentrate on those things so you can always have hope and always be encouraged to know that trouble don't last always. Hard times don't last always.
No.
They can change. In some instances, marriage couples do change. In some instances, they don't. It's really up to the individual person, but anything is possible, if somebody's willing to work on it and to do what needs to be done.
Yes.
And so we just pray that this blessed you all. And you got anything else?
No, that's all I had. That's all I had, baby. Is that we understand what marriage really is and understand the difference between love and lust. Because they're twins. They look identical, but one caters to the heart and the other caters to the flesh.
Yeah.
So are we flesh driven? Are we carnal? Or are we driven by the spirit of the heart of God? To whereas I can use this word, come hell or high water, we're going to do what needs to be done, because once you put it in his hands, then he can work it out.
That's right.
But when we try to put stuff in our own hands, then we destroy it, because we don't really have the heart of God concerning things, So that's all I had to say, baby. I mean, let's just realize what is and what's not.
Yeah. Place your spouse in the Lord's hands.
Yeah. That's what you did.
Place them in the Lord's hands.
That's
because
exactly
if you're
what
trying to make them do this and do that and trying to make it, just put them in his hands, because he can work it out and he can fix it. So he's the only one that's able to do it. You can't do it. You can't make them do it, but he can do it.
That's right.
And so you do that, and then you can find rest even in the midst of chaos. You can find the rest of God in the midst of that. So we love you guys, and we pray that you all are blessed. We pray that you are encouraged, and Lord willing, we will see you all on the next go round. Bye.